One, two. We are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Zahid from Talks at Innovation Valley, and today we have very special guest with us, Lois La from Lois is actually the member of ChatGPT Lab at OpenAI, and many congratulations to Lois for being selected at OpenAI.
Thank
And
you.
she's also a CS and business graduate student at Minerva University, USA, and she is originally from Hong Kong. She has traveled 29 countries in such a young age. That's super amazing. And lived in three continents at the age of 21 years. Unbelievable. So, first of all, Lois, I really warm welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome, Lois. Lois, before we jump to our today's topic, which is AI disruptions and the future of education, I would love to know, and my audience would love to know your story. I mean, from where you got your schooling, from where you got your like early education. How was your these early 15 to 20 years, and how was all this journey, and ultimately coming to the OpenAI for experiencing this Chat GPT lab at OpenAI. Tell me your life story. Anything how you come to this point today.
So I'm actually still an undergrad student. I'm in my first year at Minerva University. So I'm originally from Hong Kong and I've lived there until I was 17. And then I got accepted to a pretty unconventional high school. It's called United World Colleges. And there are 18 campuses around the world. There are campuses in US, UK, India, Eswatini, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, blah blah blah. But I decided to go to the campus in Bosnia and Herzegovina in the city called Mostar. So I studied the international baccalaureate program there for 2 years. It's a very diverse and global school in the sense that students come from more than 70 countries, and I have roommates from Italy, from Bosnia, from Albania, from Tunisia, and Croatia. So it's a very global experience. So and then after that, now I'm in Minerva University and I'm based in San Francisco. So ChatGPT came out when I was in high school, I think. And like every curious young person, I just started to on it. But I didn't rely on it for my schoolwork because there was still a lot of output errors and I couldn't fully trust the sources of where these outputs come from. So I just wrote my essays on my own on the side and I just try to experiment with different features of ChatGPT and other AI LLM. So fast forward to today, I am in San Francisco, which is like the technology hub of the world, in Minerva University. So a little context about Minerva is that it's a very unconventional, global, and futuristic school. So students have the opportunity to live in a different country every semester, every year. So this year I'm in San Francisco, but next school year, so starting this August, I'll be in Tokyo. And in my third year, I'll be in Buenos Aires. And in my fourth year, I'll be in Berlin and then back to San Francisco for graduation. So one time when I was just scrolling through LinkedIn, I saw a recruitment post for ChatGPT for undergrad students studying in North America, so USA and Canada. And I got really interested because ChatGPT is such a ever change like or AI LLM is such an ever changing field, and I would love the opportunity to learn how to use it on my own, to learn how other students use it, and just to test different features in general. So I just applied, and I got in very thankfully, and yeah, that's how I got into the lab.
That's super amazing. Lois, how is your experience going on with ChatGPT so far, and what actually will be happening at ChatGPT Lab?
So ChatGPT Lab is a more student-based, undergrad student-based program. So we have weekly meetings and we discuss how students use AI, what features has worked, what has not worked, what the future with AI would look like or should look like. So a range of different topics. And We also will host events on campus to collect student stories of how they use AI and what the sentiment around AI is. And it's been a very insightful experience because every single week, during every single meeting, I'm learning something new because everyone uses ChatGPT differently. And everyone has different lives, everyone has different projects, everyone's studying something differently. So you get exposed to a wide range of options and a full new world in front of you. So I think it's both a really great learning experience and a good opportunity for me to share my own findings, my own thoughts about AI and ChatGPT.
Wow, that's really great. So, Lois, what do you think? How actually AI changed the education and learning, or is it just a hype? How do you see all this thing?
So I think first we have to dissect or define what the hype even means because conversations around AI in education are quite polarized. I mean, every day there's something new. There's a new model being pushed out. There's a new feature being pushed out. There's a new school built. So all of this is really exciting, but then I think on one hand, there are conversations around how, oh, there's an AI apocalypse coming and people are not going to think for themselves anymore. AI is going to take over the world and education. But then on the other hand, there are talks around how AI is the future of education. People are building AI teachers. Learning is going to be more democratized or more flexible. But personally, I think the reality, or at least the current state, sits in between the both ends of the spectrum. So first, to touch on the AI apocalypse, I think there are risks concerning AI when we implement it in education. So there's a really interesting concept about how we might end up becoming middle managers for our own thoughts, because at least what I have seen how students use AI is that we prompt AI with a certain topic, say for our own assignments, and AI gives us a list of options or ideas to choose from. So essentially, we're not generating or constructing our own thoughts on our end anymore. We're just choosing from a list. So we're judging and managing the middle part of their thinking process, which is generated by AI. And there's a risk of cognitive offloading, um, especially because AI outputs are why AI outputs can be quite homogenized because they're feeding on a large sum of data. And the output that we get is just the average of all of these different data and all of these different ideas. So it's very interesting how there are research showing that even when students themselves have a wide range of different opinions, if they start using AI in some stage of their thinking process, then the final output that the students present might be somewhat similar because of AI homogenization. So the cognitive costs can be like fewer original ideas, which is like a hive mind effect, less critical thinking, weaker memory retention, degraded cognition. So there are risks of losing our critical thinking skills, but then at the same time, I think it really depends on how you use AI in your education process to begin with. So on the other hand, about the AI is the future of education talk, there are opportunities presented like AI tutoring, more personalized training, AI doing some form of grading, planning lessons, administrative tasks, or even giving feedback to students. And I think a very interesting example is a school called Alpha AI School. So I don't know if you've heard about it, but originally it's founded in San Francisco Bay Area. So it's a private K-12 school network founded in 2014, and their learning model is a 2-hour learning model. It's more AI driven, and they implement this adaptive tutoring, which is so efficient that students can complete a full day's worth of core academics in just 2 hours each morning, which is pretty revolutionary, I think, in my opinion. But then students spend the afternoon part of their school time to learn soft skills. So there will be workshops on financial literacy, public speaking, entrepreneurship, coding, blah, blah, blah. So it's a more comprehensive and holistic learning model, I think. it's still pretty new, so we'll see how it goes. But the first graduating class, from what I know, has gained admission to top schools, including like Stanford, Babson, and Vanderbilt. So it's a very interesting example of how AI has revolutionized education. And I know they're also expanding in Bay Area and Chicago. But then obviously these are two extreme ends of the spectrum. And I think from my experience, it's just more important for students and for professors to teach students how to ask questions instead of just using AI to say, instead of just using AI to write your full assignments, the professors can guide students how to think for themselves, how to use better prompts, ask better questions, and collaborate with AI to say identify areas of improvement in your whole learning process instead of yeah leaning towards either end of the spectrum.
All right. So, before moving forward, I would like to tell my audience that today's episode is powered by Code Ninja. Code Ninja is a full stack AI delivery company helping enterprises, software acquirers, and governments build and operate intelligence driven systems for mission critical workflows. An amazing company, AI delivery company based in Lahore and working in USA, Saudi Arabia, and worldwide, and building uh, amazing global capability center in multiple places. So, coming to our topic, I would like to ask Luis, what do you think? I came to know many people say AI will replace this, AI will replace that, AI will replace teachers, AI will replace every job, AI will replace learning. So, how do you see this noise and opinion? AI will replace everything? What is the balanced approach?
So I think this ties back to the previous question of, oh, is AI just a hype, and the two ends of the spectrum. So first, I think the idea of AI replacing learning is a very doomsday approach. And second, AI cannot replace learning because AI itself is a technology that enables machines to learn patterns and like give different outputs, perform tasks. But learning is fundamentally an internal human individual cognitive process. So AI can accelerate the conditions for learning or redefine how learning can look like, but it cannot do the learning for the student because learning is a human process to begin with. So I think the concerns behind the statement of AI replacing learning can be how students are starting to use LLM to complete assignments end to end. And these concerns are very valid because these things have been happening. But there are also measures implemented by schools to counter this phenomenon. Like, again, it's a whole spectrum. It's like either banning AI completely using AI detectors or incorporating AI in your learning, making AI tutors, using AI to create like personalized lesson plans. But that I think touching back on the point about how students use LLM to complete assignments, that's just another way of cheating. And cheating itself has existed in history since as long as we know. And ultimately, it's up to students to choose how and if they learn. So at the end of the day, you go to school to learn, right? You don't go to school obviously for grades, but then you want to get something out of the school. So if you're only using AI to generate a full assignment, then you're also not getting anything out of it. So it's kind of counterintuitive in that way. So I think AI can redefine what learning means because we have seen how AI has democratized a lot of learning resources so students can learn in a more self-driven method, and it lowers the barrier to a lot of um, access to different resources. So systematically speaking, I have seen how different higher education institutes, including my own, have changed their testing systems to counter the effects of cognitive offloading to AI. So, say, instead of testing students using pen and paper, writing what's the definition of, say, economies of scale? The questions that professors can ask is how is economies of scales observed in firms like Amazon? Or if you want students to practice more hands-on learning, then you can create an assignment of knowing what economies of scale is, how can you maximize efficiency and reduce costs for your student organization? So like just changing these testing systems can really shift the focus of just learning theories and testing students' understanding of the theory, which AI can generate really good outputs on, to testing how well students can implement these theories in their real life, which is also something that prepares students better in their professional life as well.
All right. So, Lois, uh, since you're the student at Minerva University, and their model is learning by doing, so how is your experience going on there as a learner as compared to the other universities, and how do you use AI at university level in all your learning process?
So I think I have a pretty unique perspective in this sense because before studying at Minerva University, I actually studied at a traditional university in the US. It's called Oberlin College. It's a small liberal arts college in Ohio. Well, it's not like a traditional big university, but it's still more traditional than Minerva. So I would say, well, first commenting on how Minerva is more unique, there's the academics part, and then there's the non-academics part. So academically, currently as a first year, all first year students study the same courses, which are called the cornerstone courses. So it covers a wide range of soft skills, including system thinking, negotiation, designing experiments, public speaking, logical thinking. There's also math, and there's also like different writing or language skills. But in a sense, this year is more of a time for the school to teach us how to think and how to work and how to like implement theories in real life more practically. So these are things that you learn at other traditional universities, but they don't create courses to teach you that. At least they don't dedicate one full year to teach you how to think. So I've never studied these courses at Oberlin College as well. But then apart from academics, Minerva also puts a lot of emphasis on the non-academic learning aspect. So again, Minerva is a global traveling school, if I can say it. So we have a lot of different global rotation cities. So again, personally, I am in San Francisco now. I'll be in Tokyo in my second year, Buenos Aires, Argentina in my third year, and Berlin, Germany in my fourth year. So in each of these city locations, Minerva has a lot of connections with like local universities or local companies. So there's also um, something called civic projects in our curriculum. So Minerva University will pair students up with local companies or organizations to create and implement a project. So students collaborating with local companies to create a project. So for example, this year I'm in San Francisco and my group is partnering with San Francisco Chronicle, which is a pretty cool newspaper company. And we are creating a data journalism project about the housing crisis in San Francisco. So we're putting our theoretical learnings about coding, about writing skills or social issue analyzing skills into actually generating a professional project. So these are a lot of different ways that Minerva uses to teach students how to, well, practice more hands-on learning and also to understand different cultures and different environments and how life or systems work in many different places. And this is very different from a traditional learning model from a traditional university because we don't have lectures and all of our classes are discussion based, but at the same time, we get exposed to how things work in different parts of the world. And yeah, as for how I use AI in my school life, so academically, I use AI more as a study partner. So I would first read the readings on my own and then say write down key words or key points and then use AI to summarize your readings in a very succinct manner. So give me the keywords of this reading and give me the key examples of this reading. So I would put these notes aside and have them as preparation for my class discussions. And then as for assignments, I think sometimes um, students tend to just rely on AI to write that assignment. I think it's a very appealing thing, but then you don't learn a lot from it because you're not cognitively using your brain to analyze your content, to think about the materials. So I would first use pen and paper to jot down my thoughts and then have conversations iteratively with ChatGPT to discuss my thoughts and ultimately draft my own paper. Yeah. So AI is more of a study partner than an AI learner.
All right. Really amazing perspectives. Let me tell you something interesting. I was reading a story shared by the founder of Code Ninja, which is an AI company. The founder of Code Ninja, he was saying that he was actually talking about the all these opinions, the people who say that AI will replace everything, and they see AI as a kind of danger or something like that. But I liked the thing I liked about the Umar's point of view about the AI. He was saying that actually artificial intelligence will be working as a collaborator with the human beings. AI is not a kind of competitor or competition. AI is a partner actually. So AI will be working as a kind of partner and as a co-pilot with the humans. So we need to see the things in with a collaborative approach.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was thinking, I know that Minerva focuses on critical thinking and active learning thing. So when it comes to AI, many people say AI kills critical thinking, creativity, and active learning. Do you agree with this perspective, or how do you see all this?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if it was my internet or.
Did you get my question?
Yes, yes, yes. So I think,
So actually, I was sharing with you a story.
yes.
I was just scrolling the LinkedIn, I saw a post of someone from Code Ninja, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, Umar. And the thing I was reading there was that we should not see AI as a competition or as a kind of enemy or something dangerous. We should see AI as a co-pilot, as a working partner, as an intelligence partner. So until we see AI as a co-partner or co-pilot, we cannot strategize how we can use it across different sectors and different industries. So I know Minerva University focuses on critical thinking and active learning, but people say that when it comes to AI, it kills creativity and critical thinking. Do you agree with this perspective, with this second perspective of people, that AI kills the creativity and critical thinking, or how you see it in a balanced approach?
I think mm, we shouldn't see it in a very binary approach. Again, two ends of the spectrum. Oh, AI will kill everything. AI apocalypse or AI is the future. We have to fully become AI, AGI, right? So I think it's difficult to answer this question because we haven't seen a generation fully grown up under the influence of AI yet. So personally, I have started experimenting with ChatGPT or like AI LLMs when I was in high school. But I was already 17, 18, 19. And I think my critical thinking has, if not fully developed, then at least partially developed. And AI was used to enhance my workflow to make my work more efficient. But then I think we could only fully know the impact of AI in learning until the next generation grows up. And it's difficult to predict now, but then I guess if we have to comment, then I think it really depends on how you use AI to begin with. So AI can be used to automate your work or to collaborate with your work, right? So again, it's might be appealing for students to just cognitively offload everything to AI and have AI write all of your assignments, but then this is just another form of cheating, and you're not going to get anything out of it anyway. So I think Minerva uses a very good approach to either incorporate AI in our learning or to acknowledge the existence of AI in our learning and try to change our testing systems to respond to that. So to give a little bit of context about how the active learning model in Minerva works. So first, we don't have any lectures, and all of the classrooms are very interactive and discussion based. So professors are more of a discussion moderator than someone who just fully lectures you on, oh, what this theory means and what this case study means. And sometimes professors would also point out flaws in our thinking process during the discussion. And the assignments are also pretty interactive and very hands-on and very fun, actually. So for example, for my Python class, well, math Python class, we had assignments where Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I
Oh,
guess
okay.
there's an internet problem. No problem. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm so sorry. I can just continue from where I cut off, or should I start over?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so so for example, a really fun assignment that we had was about the hill climbing algorithm, and instead of just coding the algorithm, the professors told us to test the algorithm in real life in San Francisco and to find the highest point in San Francisco using this algorithmic approach. And so these are like different ways where Minerva really encourages to learn in real life and incorporate the theories in real life. So yeah, and so I think there are definitely ways to counter AI automating our lives and automating our learning. It just really depends on how you do it.
All right. So, Lois, I mean, what do you think? how these tools introduced by OpenAI are adding value to different professionals and different industries, especially educational sector.
Mhm. I can talk about this from a student perspective since I'm still an undergraduate student. So I think there are a lot of different features that ChatGPT has shipped that has enhanced the whole learning experience. So, for example, with projects, so I personally use each project for each course I'm studying, and I just dump all the learning materials, all of my notes from classes in, and use the quizzes mode from ChatGPT to test my understanding. And ChatGPT also has this study mode where it's trained not to give full answers, but as more of a guided learning partner. So, for example, it will break your problems into smaller steps. It will give you hints in case you don't know what the answer is, instead of like giving you the full answer. It also helps you reinforce different concepts. So it's like a mini teaching assistant slash professor. And on the other hand, I also use Google Notebook LM. It's a product by Google, and it's a very good product for to help you analyze your readings and to generate study notes. So again, it saves you time, but then of course you have to do the readings on your own. So what I do is I just read the readings on my own. I write down keywords, and again, I use AI how AI has changed the game in education from the student perspective. But then from the professor perspective, my professors are also incorporating AI in their learning. So they would build customized GPT or customized Gemini TAs and give it to students. So students can learn and test their own concepts in their own free time instead of having to like email professors all the time or going to like TA's office hours all the time. Yeah. So this is from my perspective.
Now, this is very interesting question. Are students becoming more dependent on AI or more empowered because of AI?
I think it's not that binary. So you can be both at the same time. So first, I would say students can be more empowered by AI because it does lower the friction or barrier for education. But then the same can be said for technology because with the internet and with all the resources available, you can learn basically everything. And now with AI, you can personalize these resources. So there are free interactive and personalized tools, or you can build your own GPT as your teacher. So it empowers you because it makes the whole process easier and more accessible. And I think especially for like technical programming skills, you can basically vibe code an app very successfully. And sometimes you don't even need to know the full technical skills to be software engineer. But then at the same time, because of this, different skills like ideation, critical thinking skills, or creativity becomes more highlighted and more important because the work has shifted from doing the hardcore building to directing the building and directing this business strategies or learning strategies or like product building strategies. So I would say students are empowered because of the easy access, but this empowerment also makes students more dependent because learning these hard skills are less and less important. And if AI, for example, tomorrow doesn't exist anymore, then I would say a lot of software engineers actually would face big problems because they're more trained in vibe coding instead of doing the writing the code themselves. But then I think another perspective this is that it widens the gap of education globally because now I'm in San Francisco, which is the technology hub of the world. So AI or technology is accessible everywhere in the city or in the country, actually. But actually, technology itself is already a privilege. and access to AI is even more of a privilege. And on top of that, knowing how to use AI, AI literacy is more and more of a privilege. And this is spread very unevenly because, for example, in Hong Kong, we don't have access to ChatGPT or Claude. And we only gained access to Google Gemini last week. So previously, obviously, people have been using AI LLM tools like Perplexity, but then because of this partial lack of access, AI literacy isn't um, highlighted or isn't encouraged that much. And I guess you could comment on how sentiments around AI or access to AI is in Pakistan. So when this access to AI is spread so unevenly, and the fact that AI accelerates the process of everything, I think if this gap doesn't change, then the gap will actually grow exponentially, and it's really difficult to predict how AI is used or not used in different parts of the world in the future. So, yeah.
All right. So, another very, very interesting question. Suppose if you compare a student using AI was one not using AI, what is the real gap today between these two?
I think we can look at this in two perspectives. So, academically speaking and professionally speaking. So, academically speaking, we have covered a lot already previously. I think again, it depends on the school. It depends on the AI policy of the school and the course or major that you're studying and how you use AI. So, I would say AI makes your workflow more time efficient if you use it accurately. But then if you don't know how to use AI that responsibly, then maybe you would spend more time judging AI output. So in the end, if you calculate the total amount of time that you spend, it might even be similar. So again, it's more about how you use AI instead of using or not using AI. And then at the same time, there are a lot of universities or schools in general that haven't or can't catch up with all the AI development. So I would say academically, the gap isn't as big as you might think. And it's not necessarily positive or negative. It just depends on how you use it as a tool. But then professionally speaking, obviously depends on the job. I would say knowing how to use AI well is more and more important these days. So for example, um, one of my friends is he got into a summer internship at NVIDIA, huge achievement. But then he was telling me that he had two rounds of interviews and none of them were technical. So NVIDIA didn't test him on how well he knows how to write code, but how good his behavior interview performance was. And there are also a lot of Tor friends who would ask um, internship, like student applicants, how do you incorporate AI in your workflow? How will you use AI to, for example, create and implement a marketing campaign for this product in this market? So it's not so much about how well you know certain academic theories anymore. It's about how well you know how to use AI in your work. So I would say, in this sense, there would be a big gap between students using AI and students not using AI in the professional sense.
All right. So, what do you think? What skills are becoming kind of obsolete because of all this AI? And what skills are becoming more valuable, keeping in view the current disruptions and the future coming?
So I think this is a very interesting question because soft skills are becoming more and more valuable, and some hard technical skills are becoming more obsolete. So there was a report by by Anthropic, um, which was released earlier this month about the impact of AI on the labor market. And the findings are very interesting because, first, it states that work hasn't fully been replaced by AI, or there hasn't been significant changes in the amount of work available after the launch of AI. But then, second, work has been redefined. So entry level jobs are no longer um, what they used to be. Instead, it's about how well workers can use AI in their workflow. And then third, the most affected jobs are usually white collar and usually more or higher educated people work in those jobs. So, for example, software engineering in computer or finance consulting or lawyers. It's very interesting because, say, consulting skills, coding skills, or knowledge about the law, these are very sophisticated and highly educated hard skills. But these skills under AI are becoming more and more obsolete. And on the other hand, skills like creativity, critical thinking, the ability to know how to read a room, adaptability, or ability to identify client needs, identify areas of improvement, or the ability to judge an AI output are becoming more and more valuable. And these skills are really difficult to be theorized or be taught in the classroom. And it's something that I think is more intuitive and you just know and you learn by experience. But again, at the same time, Minerva is putting a lot of effort into teaching us students these skills through the classroom, which I really appreciate.
All right. Recently, a company named Code Ninja, based in my city, Lahore, and they are also based in multiple other countries. They recently signed an MOU with the famous university of one of the top universities of Pakistan to bridge the gap between academia and industry. Do you think that universities are adopting fast enough to AI disruption, or they are lagging behind when we talk uh, on the general behavior of the universities worldwide? Because you have been in many countries, and especially in your own country and right now in USA. So what do you think on the behavior of the universities? Are they adopting all these change with a pace, with a fast pace, or just lagging behind?
I think precisely because access to AI or AI literacy is spread so unevenly around the world, it really depends on the university. And again, I can only comment on my experience and what I know from countries I've lived in. So for Hong Kong, I think they're definitely lagging behind because, from my understanding, there's still a lot of um, exams that test students' understanding of definitions of theory instead of the application of the theory in real life. And I don't know if this has changed, but from what my friend told me like a few years back, computer classes exams were pen and paper. So they were coding with pen and paper, which is a very funny phenomenon because you don't code with pen and paper. Maybe it has changed now. I'm not very sure. But then again, since Hong Kong doesn't have access to ChatGPT or Claude yet, it's difficult for universities to adapt when they don't have access to these tools. Um, and then in Bosnia, so Bosnian universities' exams are similar to Hong Kong in the sense that they test a lot of the definitions of theories very rigorously instead of how well you can apply these theories to real life. And again, a lot of it is pen and paper. So in that sense, they're also not adapting fast enough to AI disruption. And then in the US, there are so many different types of higher education institutions. And I would say Minerva, so my university's approach is pretty well because we have a lot of different types of testings. So obviously there are written assignments and then there are coding assignments, but there are also interviews where professors would ask you questions and then you would have to come up with a response or explain your work immediately. So they would know immediately if you only use AI for your own assignments or your class discussions. But then I read this very interesting article the other day. The author is a professor at Boston College, and he came up with this idea of a scaffolding learning model. So instead of having students explain or write the entire assignment about one topic, he would break down the entire topic in the assignment into smaller stages and have students submit one part of that assignment. So one stage per week or one stage at a time. So he would be able to comment and guide the students' learning experience step by step. And this can counter the consequences of students using AI to generate a full assignment and actually train students' thinking process one step at a time. So it really depends, I would say.
All right. So if you design if you redesign the education system today, keeping in mind this AI disruptions and integrating the AI, how the new education system will look like? You are all in
Oh,
all.
that's a very huge responsibility.
It is.
And that's no, but it's a very interesting question. I think I would say education system or university is such a complex and big system. So say for higher education, there's like academic research and there's professional development, and students also learn from socializing with other people through like student clubs and organizations. But then to answer this question, we have to consider what the most important skills students should take away from the entire educating experience. So, as I said before, soft skills like adaptability, ability to read the room or identify needs, identify voices of the people, communication skills, creativity skills, critical judgments, public speaking skills. And these are skills that I think students should focus on the most through education. So, for example, I guess in like senior year of high school or in university, if students are studying say, business, then they could create a capstone project about giving a pitch for your business plan, incorporating all the theories you have learned from classes in front of professors, in front of students, or even in front of external partners. And say, for example, if you're studying political science, then you can create a project and choose from one of the most of your local community and pitch a solution. So, in a sense, through these different activities, students can not only gain a deeper understanding of the theories they have learned from classroom, but also actually implement them in real life because this is what they have to do after graduating anyway. So I think these are some learning elements or activities that higher education or high schools should implement. As then for, say, elementary school, I think just more hands-on learning, right? Because I grew up in Hong Kong. I went through the local Hong Kong education system. I don't know how it's like in Pakistan, but I think across Asia, school cramming and spoon feeding education is so widespread and kind of normalized, which is a sad reality because students only spend their days sitting in classrooms, writing exams, but they don't learn what the theories or what the mathematical equation that they learn actually mean and how they can be implemented in real life. So I think, say for primary school, obviously students should spend some time learning the theories in the classrooms, but then for afternoon classes, more field trips and visiting different companies or different organizations, just exploring the world and exploring your own community in person. That would be very helpful to for students' own development.
So I can say confidently that you will be amazing education policy maker and designer, the system builder. Yeah.
I'm very honored. Very honored.
So, what are the misconceptions that students, teachers, and parents have when it comes to the using AI tools like ChatGPT or other tools?
I think, well, I can comment on two misconceptions. The first one we've already touched on previously. It's about how AI, LLM will take away your critical thinking skills completely. And again, this is not a binary discussion, and it really depends on how you use AI. And in fact, I think it this is a really good opportunity for students to enhance their critical thinking skills because instead of just creating or instead of building your own opinions about a certain topic from scratch, now there's another layer to this whole process, which is judging AI outputs. And with the effects of AI homogenization, students can learn how to critically judge an opinion using different perspectives, drawing from their different lived experiences. So, if you're going to just use AI to write your entire essay end to end, then obviously you will lose your critical thinking skills because you didn't even try to begin with. And this process is the same as cheating in an exam, where you just bring your textbook and put it under your drawer and then copy everything on your exam paper. So it's not necessarily about AI, but about how you choose to learn, I think. And the second misconception is that um, AI tools are very flawed because the outputs that they generate are bad. But first, what does bad mean? And second, how are you using AI? So a lot of people, when they use ChatGPT, they insert a very simple prompt without context, and they expect a very comprehensive, detailed, and perfect answer output. But this is not going to happen because context and prompt engineering are important when you use AI tools like ChatGPT. And the process is a very iterative process where, say, you prompt the question, but you also have to give the context of where the question comes from, what you're expecting from the output, say the structure of the output, the tone of the output, what the output is used for. And then you can ask ChatGPT to ask you clarifying questions to better tailor the response to your needs. And then after that, you tell ChatGPT, oh, I don't like this, change this to this, or how about this, blah, 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 blah. So it's a very iterative process that still takes a lot of time. And I think this is something that people don't realize.
All right. Uh, Through ChatGPT Lab, what kind of real world use cases or experiments have you seen that excited you the most? Or do you think you will be doing this and that experiments, or you will be creating use cases? Tell me a little bit about all this ChatGPT Lab stuff, and with some easy examples, what will happen actually?
Yeah, so through the lab, members, I think everyone in the lab is so smart and very creative. So I've seen is like ranging from studying careers or resume building or incorporating in their actual professional work to different projects that they're doing in school. So fundraising projects using ChatGPT to brainstorm a marketing campaign, outreach campaign, or even to create the poster visualizations. A lot of different use cases. And personally, I I'm very interested in social sciences, and I read this report by ChatGPT about how they are developing models to mitigate political biases in their models. So I wanted to do a test on my own. So test political biases in ChatGPT. So I made three comparison groups. The first one is a ChatGPT, say, authoritarian state. And then the second one is a ChatGPT pro-democracy state. And the third one is a neutral control group. And I engineered different prompts ranging from different political opinions and just fed it to all the different control groups to see what the results would be. And it's very interesting because there is political bias in ChatGPT, and the same can be said for Claude, for Gemini, for DeepSeek, and for all the other models. So this is a very important finding because this shows that we cannot fully absorb all of the contents that these LLM models output, and we still need a lot of critical thinking skills to evaluate the or just evaluate the validity of these outputs and how we should respond to them, how we should incorporate them in our work. So this is, I think this is a very broad research that still needs to be studied a lot in long term, especially when new models are being um, developed and produced so fast. But yeah.
All right. So, Lois, what do you think? You know, there are two kind of countries in the world. The one is fully developed countries, and the second one are the developing countries or underdeveloped countries. For example, when we talk about the developing countries, just like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc. So, how do you see that? What kind of opportunities this AI game is creating in the developed countries and underdeveloped or developing countries like Pakistan?
Mhm. I think, can I respond with a question? How is AI being used, or how is government policy, or how are companies incorporating AI in their work in Pakistan currently?
Very interesting question, and thank you for asking this. In fact, trust me, Pakistani government is very, very serious on AI, and in I guess couple of months ago there was a huge conference in the capital city of Pakistan, Islamabad. It was named as AI Week. It was a full fledged conference where many, many industry experts came and talked about the AI. And they covered a lot of sectors from education to manufacturing to IT to all the sectors, that how this AI can be beneficial for Pakistan. I mean, there is a very serious discussion on the government side, in academia, and industry as well. So especially our IT industry leaders and whole IT ecosystem of Pakistan is very serious on this AI stuff. So this is the scenario going on in Pakistan.
No, that's very wonderful to hear. I think AI presents a lot of opportunities if you're using the right tool and if you're using the right tool accurately. So, because, so I think AI can either automate some form of work or collaborate with humans on some of the work. And as we have seen from the report from Anthropic, work that AI helps the most is usually white collar work, which is like um, which more higher educated people usually work on. So the opportunities are things become more accessible and resources become more accessible and different industries can develop faster and more efficiently and grow more exponentially. And again, I think it's difficult for me to comment on the impacts of, say, like developed countries because I haven't fully been exposed to how AI works in these environments. But then, say for Hong Kong, the government is also pushing for more AI development. So they actually introduced this AI Plus initiative. So they are dedicating a lot of funding to building computing infrastructure, and they actually dedicated around 6.4 million USD to fund AI training courses and competitions for the public to just really double down on promoting AI education. And yeah, it's a very interesting phenomenon, and I'm excited to see how this will turn out. And yeah.
All right. And when you see the world down the line, uh, 10 years, I mean, looking ahead 5 or 10 years, how do you see the world? How do you see that, how the world will look like, how the learning and education will look like, how the cities and work and business and everything will look like? Tell me your imaginations on the base of all these disruptions.
Ooh, okay. I think with AI and with how fast everything is being developed, I had a very interesting conversation with members of the ChatGPT Lab about Neuralink yesterday, actually. And there are different sentiments about Neuralink. Oh, I don't want a chip in my brain. Oh, if it's a hat, that would be better. Or I don't want AI to automate all my thinking. Or can we even trust our brain to begin with? Because our brain thinkings or cognitive thinking can be corrupted by external factors. And where would our Neuralink data be stored? Right? Like all these questions that I think it's impossible to predict how exactly the future would look like. I just know it's going to be very different. And say in the education sector, I would love to see more schools celebrating or incorporating the learning model that Minerva University has because I think it's such a valuable opportunity for students to learn how the world works through theory and through hands-on learning and through traveling the world, right? It's very exciting. And then for the business sector, more and more things will be automated by AI. So entry-level job descriptions will change. Even management job descriptions will change. And there are a lot of worries about layoffs, which is very valid because we have already seen that happening in Amazon and in other top firms. But then at the same time, while layoffs are happening and jobs are changing, how people approach AI and how people use AI will also change. So I think students, especially the younger generation, will have time and will have the opportunity to catch up to all these changes. So it's not a doomsday scenario, as contrary to what a lot of people think. But then, yeah, it will be fun if we see flying cars in the future.
All right. So, the last question of the episode. If you think, not think, if you imagine the world like a child, the magical powers, the AI is a kind of power. So, what is the most fascinating thing that you imagine with the AI after a few years? I mean, what fascinates you? That, okay, after a certain number of years this will be like this, and I wish this could be like this. So what is the most fascinating thing about the AI that makes you exciting about the future?
Mm, okay, I'm going to give a pretty silly response. So, do you know Doraemon or have you watched Doraemon?
Yeah. Yes, have.
Yes, so I grew up watching that show. I'm such a big fan. I would watch it with my dad every day. So, if I were a child, then my imagination of how an AI world would look like would be a world with a lot of Doraemons. So, not a doomsday Terminator scenario, nor a like wonderful fully paradise, but just a lot of cute and friendly and kind AI assistants there is to help, not to help you solve problems, but to be there with you and to guide you on how to navigate life with a lot of different tools. Like my favorite Doraemon tool was the door, where you can travel to anywhere in the world because I'm such a traveler and I will love to travel to more places in the world in the future. So like all of these cute little tools and easy access to different resources, but at the same time, like a partner to help you critically judge different life scenarios and how to approach different life events. I think that would be very cute.
Wow, super cute. So Lois, uh, you know we can extend this episode a lot, but we have fixed the timing of this episode, and um, I ask this question from all the guests I invite, keeping in view this AI thing, and keeping in view life in general, and general challenges and common challenges of the human beings. What one message would you like to give to my audience? Any inspirational advice, any message? What should they do? I mean,
Hmm.
how should they deal with their life, deal with their profession, deal with their studies? Any message from your side?
Yeah, for sure. I would say first, AI is here to stay. AI will not go away, even though you might hate it a lot or you might love it a lot. There has to be a middle ground, and we have to learn how to adapt to this world, which is very challenging, which is very stressful because as an undergrad student, um, I don't have to find a job yet because I'm not graduating next year. But then I see a lot of my friends stressing about, oh, there's this employment disaster. All the companies are laying off people. No one is hiring me. Life is really stressful with AI, and it's okay. Like we have to admit it. But then at the same time, this is not the end of the world. And life is so much more than studying. Life is so much more than working. Life is so much more than technology or AI. And I think, especially because technology is so hyped and technology is so dominant in our lives, human connections are becoming more and more valuable. So go out with your friends, go have a picnic. If you live by the ocean, by the beach, go to a beach party, or just talk to your neighbors, chat with random people in the cafe. And these little moments of life is what make the whole living experience so much more valuable and so much more beautiful. And I mean, on top of that, travel the world if you can, or travel within your country, within your city. Learn about people, learn about different cultures. So personally, I've traveled to a lot of countries, and I every time I go to a different country, I would connect with the local family or local people to learn about their day-to-day life and just learn about what they think of the world. So I'd say, I guess the final message is that AI is here and life is stressful, but there is so much more to life than these things. And you have to celebrate and acknowledge that too, because otherwise it's just too sad.
All right. Quickly, one line for Pakistan. What would you like to say?
Ooh, I would love to visit Pakistan
Wow.
because my
Come
my
and see
roommate,
how beautiful our country is. Beautiful people, amazing people, lovely people, very great culture, tasty food. So come and see.
for sure,
Yeah.
I
And
will one day.
what would you like to say? Anything would you like to say about Innovation Valley?
Mm, it's a very cool initiative, and I hope more people learn about Innovation Valley. More people watch the podcast and learn about your amazing work and your perspectives on AI as well.